when you hire Louis van Gaal, you hire also the philosophy of Louis van Gaal. When your wife is dying, that has a big influence on you. Mourinho was shouting at me and the president, you have to fulfill your dream.
Football management is a tough job in a harsh and unforgiving industry. Success is all that matters, and failure is shown no mercy. In nearly 30 years of covering the sport that I love, I've been fortunate enough to watch the great and the good at work, up close and sometimes very personal. But now I want to dig deeper, to find out what it takes to be a celebrated and successful manager, what they were born with, who inspired them, and what they've learnt on their way to the very top of the game, the changes they've seen in football, and the changes they've helped create. These are my football godfathers. To not just manage, but win armfuls of trophies and titles at iconic footballing institutions such as Ajax, Barcelona, Bayern Munich and Manchester United, you have to have two things: outstanding ability and a big personality. Louis van Gaal has both in abundance.
Next time, no press allowed. You have to do what I want.
Often described as a genius and arrogant in the same breath, we've come to Portugal to assemble a portrait of one of the Dutch masters. I can see why you call this paradise.
I was always authentic.
It's a stupid question.
You see what you see with me.
Goodbye.
My life was always a life of success. That was a heavy battle. He interfered a lot, and that was not nice.
What was your very first footballing memory?
On the streets. At that time, you could play on the streets. And we play between lampposts. I was 6. I come out of a family of 9 children, 4 brothers and 4 sisters. And all the brothers play football. I was 6 and I played with my brothers 10 years older. So for me, it was fantastic.
Perfect training ground.
It was not like, okay, my little brother has to play with them. No, no. They were proud that I was there in their team. I was above average student. I was above average football player. I was above average baseball player. I had a lot of success with my notes on school, but also in football teams on school. We became the champion of Amsterdam, for example. So my life was always a life of success. And then you are accepted as a leader, because my character is also, I organized street matches between streets, and I selected my teams. For example, I was also student at the physical academy. I was at that time 70 years old, and I have to teach boys from 2021. And I did it. It's unbelievable, but I did it.
Tell me about your life as a footballer and balancing it with being a physical education instructor at the same time.
Yeah, in the Netherlands, you have still semi-professional clubs, and I was a teacher. I was first a full professional player in Belgium, Antwerp, and I didn't play every match, and I want to play every match. So I return after 4 years to the Netherlands back, and I want to pick up my study and teach children. And then a lot of clubs came to me to be a semi-professional player. My day was always 7 o'clock awake, 8 o'clock with the car in traffic jam, and I arrive there 9 o'clock, and then till 2 I give lessons, and then I have to travel 8 years to Rotterdam from Amsterdam, and also in a traffic jam, and I have to be there at 3:30. And I came always 1 minute before, but that was accepted. I was also the captain there. And then I have to train with mostly youngsters. So it was a life that was very busy. And I brought 2 children up with my wife. My wife did everything, but I was at home at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock. That was my life.
Do you think one of the key moments in your life was when you joined Ajax as the youth coach?
Yeah, I remember that. I said it to my mom. I can be a professional coach at Ajax. And I have to start in the under 19. And then my mother say, son, you are teacher now. It's for your whole life. And when you go in the world of football, you never know. And nevertheless, I did it. And I didn't follow her advice.
Which I would imagine is a big thing, because, as I understand, you were very fond of your mother.
Yeah, my mother raised me, because my father died when I was 11. And also my brothers and sisters raised me, because I was the youngest. But my mother was the most important human being on earth. And, but she said that. But I want so much to be a trainer coach. All my friends want signatures of the players, and I want a signature of Rinus Michels. I think at that time I know already I shall not be a top professional player, so I have to study for trainer coach, because I admired Rinus Michels, and I want to be him. So I want to be a trainer coach of Ajax Amsterdam, and I became trainer Ajax.
You achieved it?
Yes.
He was quoted as saying, Louis van Gaal is damn arrogant, and we like arrogant people here.
Yeah, I think so.
What did you make of that when he said that?
And that is not arrogancy, but confidence in yourself, in your philosophy. I have a philosophy. I believe in the total human principle. I see a player not only like a player who can pass the ball from A to B, but I see also a human being. As a human being, you have in your environment a lot of things that you have to manage. And when you cannot manage these things, then you play also worse. That's why you have to see not only the player, but also what is his environment, how good it is with his wife and his children, and so on. It's difficult, because not every player wants to talk about that, but you have to try it.
So tell me then about the next fantastic 6 years at Ajax, and just how you achieve that success.
It's of course also a lot of luck. In the first 8 months, it was not going well. the fans were shouting against me and
Yes.
and Johan Cruyff. They shouted for Johan
Bring back Cruyff.
And then at the end of the season, we won the UEFA Cup. So at that time, okay, they accepted me. We played with a very young team. The players were very open for me, and yeah, in my philosophy, the team is more important than the individual player. So all these youngsters and also the old players accept that, and that's very important. We played like a team, and at that time we had also a big talents. In Ajax Amsterdam, I had several players I could use. And because I was the trainer-coach of them in under 19, Davids, Seedorf, Reiziger, Kluivert, I have trained them in the youth. So I did know the characters of the players, but also the quality of the players. It's also the circumstances, luck of the circumstances, and the very good youth department of Ajax. Where I am very proud of is the way we played football.
Why?
It was so attractive and so nice to see. But we played like a team, and we had the quality to play that kind of football. And as a trainer coach or as a manager, you are always dependable of the quality of your players. As a manager, you want always the perfect game at the right moment, and that's the final. Mourinho was shouting at me, and the president, I think the biggest disappointment in my career.
I'm with Louis van Gaal, a football godfather whose record as a manager is up there with the very best.
My life was always a life of success.
A coach who has won no less than 20 major trophies across 4 countries. A man with a single-minded philosophy about how the game should be played.
I believe in the total human principle. I see not only a player, I see also a human being.
On the 24th of May, 1995, the 43-year-old coach faced the biggest game of his life. His young Ajax side were taking on the reigning European champions, AC Milan, in the Champions League final.
The process to the final is the most important in your career. As a manager, you want always the perfect game and at the right moment, and that's the final. It was the superb moment, and of course I had changed 2 players, and one of them was Kluivert, and he scored the winning goal. So also as a manager, you are proud that you have done that. I'm always proud when you win something.
Van Gaal was flush with football success. His Ajax side, with an average age of just 23, had quite literally won the lot. In 6 glorious seasons, they won 3 league titles, the Dutch Cup, the UEFA Cup, the UEFA Super Cup, the Champions League and the World Club Championship. But the success and jubilation Van Gaal was enjoying on the field were in stark contrast to the tragedy unfolding in his private life.
My first wife, the mother of my children, died before that I won my first championship in the Netherlands. When your wife is dying, that has a big influence on you, but also on my environment. And my children, I have to raise my children At that time, they were 15 and 17 years old, 18 years old. What do you want? Do you want your daddy more at home? Or can we live like we have lived all in the past? Because they have to decide. And then we have to make a structure, a plan. Because they decided, oh no, you have to fulfill your dream, because they know also that that was my dream. And we have managed the first years to continue in the spirit of my wife. And my environment also wants to give that championship. So all my players were also inspired to give everything because of my wife. I could sign for AC Milan, but I didn't sign because they were not so interested in my philosophy in the conversation. And I think that's the most important thing, because when you hire Louis van Gaal, you hire also the human being and also the philosophy of Louis van Gaal. So I said, okay, no, I don't want to do that. And in spite of they are offering a lot, I said, no, I'm sorry. Nichols was the first trainer coach of Barcelona. That was also an argument to take Barcelona, of course. For me, it's an icon. I said, I like to be the director of the youth education because then I can learn the language better before I am the head coach. And I get used to the culture of the country. But then when I arrive in June, I hear at that time that I am the head coach and that I have to follow up Bobby Robson. And then we had a meeting with Bobby Robson and Jose Mourinho, because he was the assistant of Bobby Robson. And the president of Barcelona said to me that I became the manager. And Bobby Robson was very silent, didn't say anything. But then Mourinho was shouting at me and the president. And I was a little bit confused. But I saw at the reactions of Bobby Robson that the president already has told him that, and not to Mourinho.
At Barcelona, you were able to promote from the youth team and start the careers of some players who've gone on to become household names across the world.
Yeah. I do not want 30 stars in my group. You have to make space for youngsters. So everywhere where I have worked, I give 3 youngsters or 4 youngsters, dependable of the quality of the youth department, a chance to develop themselves in the first selection. Xavi, Iniesta, Puyol, Valdez, Mota is now playing Paris Saint-Germain. These 5 players played at Barcelona, and I give them the first match. So I think that is the consequence of my philosophy, that I give them more chances. it is not a good period because I didn't fulfill my dreams. I didn't reach the championship or the tournament of World Cup. So that's a big disappointment. I think the biggest disappointment in my career. That was a heavy battle. He interfered a lot, and that was not nice.
Goodbye.
I was always authentic. You see what you see with me. I was above average student. I was above average football player. My life was always a life of success.
I'm in Portugal, the adopted home of footballing godfather Louis van Gaal, a Dutch master of the game and one of the select band of managers to have won league championships in 3 different countries.
The first 8 months, it was not going well. And the fans were shouting against me.
Van Gaal's stellar coaching career began to falter. He had an unsuccessful spell as Dutch national team manager, followed by brief and unhappy returns to both Barcelona and Ajax. His next choice of club was a surprise. The outcome even more so.
Is it possible to sum up what happened at AZ Alkmaar?
AZ was a club, a small club, picked up by a multimillionaire, and he could invest in young players. So we selected a lot of youngsters of the Olympic team under 23. And yeah, I could make a team of it. That's my specialty. And yeah, the first year we're already second. And the second year we were first at the last match of the season. And we lost against the lowest club in the league. And we lost also the final in the cup. So in spite of a great season, it was not so good season. The third season, we selected and selected, reselected, but the balance in the selection was not good. And I have to correct too much. And at the end, it was not good in the dressing room. We were 11th at that time. And I was afraid to relegate. And I said to my president and my technical director, I said, I think I quit. Because when I'm here, I have no good influence on the dressing room. I said, okay, I quit, but they don't want to quit me. The players came to my house and the captain and 3 or 4 players, and they said, no, it is not your fault, it is our fault, you have to come back, and okay. Then I said, okay, but then everybody has to do exactly what I say. So I re-selected again because the balance was not good. And then the next year we were the champion. It's unbelievable.
Does that particular phase of your career have a special place in your heart?
Yes, I am always saying that it's my best period.
I remind you of what you said when you arrived of Bayern Munich. You said they are self-confident, dominant and arrogant, honest, hard-working, but also cordial and familial, like me.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I love discipline. I love discipline. And I think the Germans are disciplined and they are physically always well trained. They scored in the last minute. Mentally very good. And I thought, I'm very thankful that I can go to that club. This selection was not in balance. For example, they had 3 strikers. But in my system, only they could play with 1 striker, for example. But I changed my system for them in 4-4-2. But that was not a great success. That was a heavy battle. Not only with my players, but also with the technical director at that moment. That was Uli Hoeneß. And he interfered a lot. And that was not nice.
Did you think you were, at that point, heading for the sack?
Of course. I can say also, my first year in Ajax Amsterdam, I mentioned already that the fans were shouting on Cruyff. I went to Osasuna, and when I lose that game, then I was sacked, I'm sure. And nobody has heard any more of Louis van Gaal in the world of football, I believe.
Was that the one result that changed your fortunes at Bayern Munich?
Yes, yes. I cannot say in another way. It is like it is. And yeah, I was very happy because Juventus is also a big club, and then you can beat them away. And we were further in a group, and then everybody accept also your philosophy, because it was always a battle at that time. And then everything is going smoothly. We became the champion. We played a very good season.
Has anybody in this room not a feeling to apologize to me?
It's a stupid question, I think. It's a stupid question.
Louis van Gaal's army!
Mr. Mike Smalling. Oh, Chris, sorry.
I believe it was a rather good performance. I was very pleased. But against, what was Stoke?
And I give it to you. You can copy it. And then you go to Big Sam, and maybe he can give a good interpretation. Cheers. Cheers. Goodbye.
Has it ever bothered you that people have this image of you as a difficult and aggressive person?
Now, because on the streets, I never have seen that somebody wants to kill me or shout at me. Always the people are very friendly to me, but also because of irritating questions at the wrong moment, then you are irritated because of that.
I can see you getting irritated thinking about it.
Yeah. But I was always authentic, and therefore honest. You see what you see with me.
I think probably one of the best images of you in Germany is when you celebrated the championship on the balcony in the lederhosen. You looked like a man in your element.
There were so many people on that square. They want to be entertained. They come for something, and not only to see the cup and that's it.
What are you most proud of from your time at Bayern?
We have created youngsters in the first team. Müller, first team. Badstuber, Alaba, Philip Lahm. He was left fullback. I put him at the right, and he has had a fantastic career. And I have to fight for that. So then the system, they play still the same system. Always, when I leave a club, that I give them an heritage. So maybe that's what I like the most.
It's fair to say you took the world by surprise.
That I have heard a lot of times, yeah. I did not know what was happening. You know that I was sacked, and I didn't know that.
I'm with Louis van Gaal, a football godfather, one of the most successful and dominant figures of the last 3 decades.
I have a philosophy. I believe in the total human principle.
Did you think you were heading for the sack?
Of course, I was sacked. I'm sure.
If it were possible to go back in time, what advice would you give a young Louis van Gaal?
Yeah. I think for me personally, not for the general manager, but for me personally, I think that I have to count till 10 before I answer the questions. Not only the media, but also my players.
You think possibly you were a little bit too quick to respond?
Yes, and too open. That's also very good, because that makes me authentic. I think that's a good habit, but it have given me also problems.
When you took the national team of the Netherlands for the second time, did you feel it was unfinished business? Was it still hurting?
The biggest disappointment in my career as a manager is the failure in 2002. I want to have a revenge. And we achieved a lot with that revenge, because nobody expected something from us, because the quality of the individual players were not so high. But the team and the team spirit was the highest I ever worked with.
I remember at the time you had already agreed to be the manager of Manchester United after the tournament, but you made the decision that you would not talk about Manchester United whilst you were with the Netherlands. And I came to the hotel to see Arsene Wenger for a coffee or something, and I saw you. I said hello to introduce myself. Next season I'm with Sky Television. I look forward to seeing you in the Premier League. You said, I'm the manager of the Netherlands. Goodbye. And walked off.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't entertain any questions about Manchester United.
No.
It's a stupid question, I think. It's a stupid question.
We have to focus on my team, on my players, on the chances of where I work for. And but yeah, that's not so nice. I can understand that you think at that time, what arrogant human being is that? I'm sorry for that, but I think that I was correct.
Tactically, it's very difficult to do anything really different. But I think it's fair to say you took literally not just the Costa Ricans, but the world by surprise when you changed your goalkeeper for the shootout.
That I have heard a lot of times, yeah. Never he had stopped a penalty. So, the chance that he stops a penalty then is also not so big. But we had Tim Krul. He played for Newcastle United. And he was a very tall figure with his spread of his arms was impressive. So, and he had a good average in stopping penalties. So it was for me more or less like that.
Do you think it had a psychological effect?
Of course. The second match that we finished with penalty was against Argentina in the semi-finals. And then we were so much better than Argentina that I thought I have to change now an extra striker. And I put Huntelaar in. But that was the wrong decision when you see it afterwards, because I couldn't change the goalkeeper anymore. And Sillissen has to stop the penalties.
Manchester United, how do you reflect on it now?
Very disappointing. We are not doing great in the league. We are always 4th, 5th or 3rd. Rashford with Manchester United is a big talent. And when they are talents in your time, then you are a lucky manager. In my first year, I had other talents from a lower level, only lingered, and Rashford came only the second year. Then he was growing up. I'm always proud when you win something. I was very proud, for example, that we have won with Manchester United the FA Cup. And we win the FA Cup with 10 players. And Lingard, he scored the winning goal. Also a little bit like Cruyff.
One thing, an abiding memory, as you say, you are a very disciplined character, you like discipline, and you were always very like that, and as you say, cordial in your appearance and your interviews and the way you present yourself. So when we all saw you at Old Trafford lying on the floor in front of the 4th official, was that an out-of-body experience?
No. I'm like that. I'm an emotional guy. I say too much in interviews. And I have done that also in the final in Vienna, with the second final I played, the Champions League final, that they cut Liedmanes his head off. And I did it, I jumped.
The karate kick.
The karate kick. And that I did also because it was such a swalbe. What is the English word of that? Dive.
Yes.
Dive. That I have to make an example of that.
Get your scarves, your Mourinho scarf!
You were being asked about Jose Mourinho at Christmas. It was that deep into the season. But how damaging was it, do you think?
For me?
Yes.
When from the month of December, they are talking about Mourinho in the media every day. Then you lose mostly your authority in the dressing room. Nevertheless, I did not lose my authority. That's also a quality that in spite of 6 months that my head is already cut off, that I still could guide the dressing room. But in my last 6 months of Manchester United, it was crushed by the media and of course also the results. They were not good enough. I did not know what was happening. You know that I was sacked, and I didn't know that officially. And then I came back to my room of my wife, and she has heard it in the elevator from the family from Ed Woodward.
That you've been sacked?
Yeah. That's, of course, the biggest disappointment after the failure of 2002.
Well done. Good luck.
Goodbye.
I can accept that because Mourinho was at that time free, that they want to have that manager because then they can continue at the highest level. Also in view of the manager. Because the quality of Mourinho is, of course, a high quality. And with me, after a year, I was finished. So that was also the explanation of Ed Woodward. And I could accept that.
But it was the way it was
tell
done.
it to me at the right time and not behind winning an FA Cup.
It's easy now, looking back. Should you have done things differently to get better results?
No, because I have because I believe in my philosophy and the titles I have won with that philosophy. The philosophy has proved in every club, in every country, with other cultures, has proved that. But I have asked many times for players of the highest quality, and I don't want to tell too much. But I didn't get my players what I want at that time.
You can tell too much, it's okay.
No. Only I am disappointed in the human beings, of certain human beings of Manchester United. And they know that I'm disappointed.
Louis, it's been fantastic. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
You're welcome.